Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Theological Leftover. And yes, I do mean today's Theological Leftover, because this week we're going to do a series, I think, of shorter videos. At least most of them are going to be shorter, but we're going to do one each day as we do a mini series called The Defenders. And the reason I'm going to do this is because a few questions have been asked of me by folks here in my congregation, and I'm guessing it's been a lot on Facebook and other social media sites with some of the things going on around our country. I'm guessing the conversation about defending not just ourselves but our family, how to teach our loved ones, our children perhaps especially, to defend themselves, what our role is, when is it okay for us perhaps to be violent in order to defend. I think these questions are on our minds because of the events going on around us. And my guess is a lot of you are probably on Facebook and have been having these conversations and maybe feeling like you've been beating your head against a wall a little bit. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about defense and the role of defending. And so the series is called The Defenders. And I want to start today by hopefully I'll have a good quote from you from a variety of different sources. And today it comes from Martin Luther himself, from the Large Catechism, when he's talking about the Lord's Prayer and the last petition of the Lord's Prayer, which is deliver us from evil. And I want you to listen to what he says. Now, before I read it, I understand that the conversations that you've been probably having, maybe the fears that you have, revolve around like a person with a gun coming in and threatening your children. And so the sort of defending that you're talking about is, again, physical action and even physical violence. And we'll get to that. We'll talk about those things. But we need to understand what is the foundation of this whole concept of defending. And that's why we went to the Lord's Prayer, and we're looking at what Luther has to say about this petition, deliver us from evil. And so here's our foundation for any kind of conversation we're having about any kind of defense. Okay? Luther says, but this petition he has put last. For if we are to be protected and delivered from all evil, see, the word was there, right? If we are to be protected and delivered from all evil, his name must first be hallowed in us, his kingdom come among us, and his will be done. Then he will preserve us from sin and shame and from everything else that harms or injures us. So we need to understand, first and foremost, especially as parents, if we're talking about defending our children or teaching our children to defend themselves, that we never want to sacrifice these primary things, right? If we truly want them to be safe, defended, then we need to be praying the Lord's Prayer. We need to be concerned about the name of God being hallowed among us. We need to be concerned about the will of God being done by us and in our lives. Right? We need to be concerned about his kingdom coming into our lives through his word and through his sacraments, that kingdom of grace, right? So how in the world can we talk about physically defending from things that might be able to harm our bodies or the bodies of our children if we haven't even had a serious conversation about defending against the spiritual forces of evil and the potential eternal harm that can come to us and to our children? And so the first line of defense is really the word, the sacraments, and the gift of prayer, and the praying of this prayer that Jesus has taught us, the Lord's Prayer. But this petition God has put last, Luther says, for if we are to be protected and delivered from all evil, his name must first be hallowed in us, his kingdom come among us, and his will be done. Then he will preserve us from sin and shame and from everything else that harms us or injures us. Don't forget the foundation. Don't put second things first when it comes to protecting your family. Something for you to think about. We'll be back tomorrow with another quote from, let's see, from Galatians 2, verse 5. If you want to look it up ahead of time, you can. But that's what we'll be looking at tomorrow. God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.